sugar or sugar? Let's start the show. Now, let me just say early tonight, we probably have the most diverse cast we've ever had on any episode of UPRE. And I'm just going to introduce them in no particular order. I'm going to start with somebody who calls himself the Redneck Cartel tonight. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic.
Now, I can't ask you anything you may or may not be involved in, as your name says, Cartel, and I don't want any smoke later. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But I'm glad you're in good spirits tonight.
Always. You know I'm always happy.
Now, this next person that I'm going to bring in here, he's been on the show before. You've seen him many times. You like what he's done. It's all in the comments in some episode that I can't remember because I'm not going to tell him. But tonight he's calling himself the Next Doctor. And if he looks familiar, you might have seen him on Chris's Instagram during Best Friend Day. He was one of the many people featured. I don't know why Chris is laughing in the background. He was one of the many people featured on Chris's IG page. And you might have seen him there. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
I am excellent. Thank you.
Did you see when Chris posted you?
I did actually, and
I saw it as well.
Yeah, and the many others. It's hard to have that many bests, you know.
And an ironic name for it too. But anyway, we're gonna go to somebody who calls themselves a dusky long shot. Does that mean that they like to take long range shots at night? We're gonna find out. What's going on, miss?
Not much. Just enjoying a dusky wine.
Okay.
Very nice.
Is there anything on the table with some bills wrapped up?
I have no idea what you mean. So no.
I got you. The next person we're going to bring in tonight is the executive consultant. Again, I mentioned him. Go to his IG page if you follow him. You can see all of his friends that he's known for many years, and they're all there. Almost all. How are you doing, sir?
Yo, the jabs, bro.
The jabs is right. Hey, I try to include everybody in those because everybody is important to me. Everybody's important to me, right?
Seemingly.
You're important to me. Vic wasn't in there. Vic wasn't in there. Why did you have to say that?
Oh, believe me, I looked over your IG. I saw who was
Why
there.
did you say that? I didn't think you were.
I saw who was there, who wasn't.
Okay.
Even some people who are no longer part of the show. It was amazing.
Cool.
It's amazing. Anyway,
he wasn't there.
Let me just read the synopsis.
Oh, decap. Okay.
This is No Country for Old Men. For people who are confused, yes, this was supposed to have been done like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but nobody but me showed up. But that's okay. That's in the past. That's in the past.
Is it?
With Barack Obama saying something like that. I don't know. Quote Barack. Okay. But this is the synopsis for my late review, our late review of No Country for Old Men tonight on UPRE. UPRE only on YouTube. Everywhere else, UPR Entertainment. Look for us. Type us in that search bar. Give us a like, at least. Come on, please. All right. A cat and mouse chase between a hitman and a hunter over a case with $2 million of drug money inside. Short and sweet. That is what this movie is, except it's long and has a lot of dialogue, and I like it. But I don't want to tip my hand too much. It is my pick. Typically, the person who picks the movie goes first. But as you can see, I have quite a lot. Ooh. I will allow someone else to go first if they would like to go.
All right.
Who would like to take it?
I'll go.
Somebody, thank you early with the trolling.
I missed that. Anyway, I want to say that the first time I saw this movie, I didn't expect much. I'm not a huge fan of Westerns. It takes quite a lot for me to get drawn in, but a lot of the very best and most well-known Westerns kind of like encompass every type of story that you can imagine, like a love story. Then there's like the good and evil. Then there's like taking on the frontier and the adventure. And this wasn't about that. This was about something that it was hard to grasp until it was finally over. It felt very much so that it was about wanting this this guy Llewellyn Moss to get away with this and get the money and make it out, him and his wife, up until the end. Toward the end, for me, it wrapped up as in, oh, okay, the theme to me feels like death is coming for us all, and there's no real, I don't want to say there's no God in anything, but there's no moral high road that you should take that will like defer death. It's coming no matter what. And there's no stopping it, and there's not even really a good and evil, honestly, because if you're rooting for Llewellyn, who's supposed to be the protagonist, he's stealing money, and it's blood money essentially, even how he found it. So it's just, to me at the end, it seemed like it's just about a very morally bankrupt world that is felt more modern than it should, and dystopian even, but it just felt very modern, and I liked it. It was interesting.
This is apropos, and I'll just jump in here for a second to give this pseudo quote. If you don't know, tomorrow we have another show on Thursday. Thursday's one of our host picks. That's Aaron's show. That's Dusky talking. That's who I'm talking about right now. And she did Death Proof. Death Proof is a Tarantino movie. And Tarantino says that Westerns, more than any other genre of film, best depict what America is like during the time that they are made. And just to go, so if you look at 1950s Westerns, you have John Wayne, right? And he's the quintessential American, right? Or the good guy with the white hat. And then you have the 60s, you have Clint Eastwood, right? And he's the anti-hero, right? And if you look at the movies that came out in the 60s, and if you see us bucking the system, bucking the man, so to speak, and everything like that, and turning the 50s on the head, that's what the 1960s is about. If you look at the 1990s, when you have Dances with Wolves, and then you have, I forget the other one, Unforgiven, it's self-reflective of the things or the crimes that we've done. A look back of nostalgia, but also, yeah, we got that wrong, and we're able to see that now. So it's apropos that she should say this movie that came out in the 21st century, No Country for Old Men, where, again, as I said, even with Rogue One that we did yesterday, everybody is gray. And I find that in real life, most people, unless they're extremists, are gray. That's where most people reside. So I truly agree with that statement. And I never looked at it that he was in fact stealing, but technically, literally, he is stealing it, and so that's a great point. I just had to jump in there and say that. But who else would like to go and say their piece?
Give it to the guest. I have a shot.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. For me, this movie was interesting because it wasn't totally an action movie. I didn't really think of it as a Western. I can definitely see that. Hello there. But it was, speaking of Tarantino, it's dialogue driven, and I really enjoy dialogue driven movies. It wasn't just that, okay, there's some great action in it. There was a good story in there, but it was, really the dialogue between the characters really sold the movie. Mm-hmm. Every person that was on the screen, like, you got a sense of who they were based on the dialogue that was had. Even the short stint of Woody Harrelson on there, you got this sense, okay, he's kind of cocky, he's really sure of himself, but you also got the sense that Shigar, like, he was a villain, like, he was menacing, he was calculating, he was cold, Woody Harrelson talked about it. He had his own code of, ethics, I guess you can say, and he kept to it, especially at the end. He said, I gave your man's a choice. He chose wrong. And now I'm here, but I really enjoyed this movie. Everything about it, the dialogue, again, I keep going back to the dialogue. It was just stupendous. It really sold the movie for me, and yeah, I do see it. I like the idea that the Western. I can definitely feel that. Definitely see that it can be a representation of America, because it was a lot of guns, a lot of drug money, and a lot of drugs. So if that ain't America, I really don't know what is. So yeah, it was a good movie.
I agree. Vic, Chris, anybody want to go?
Yeah. Okay. So I was ready to be bored. I really was, because I was never really into like the country western thing. So I was very ready to be bored, right? And wow, as soon as your man came up to the cop and was like, "Hold up, hold your head out, please," bam, and just popped him in the head with the little pressure thing, I was like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" And then when he popped the door handle out, and when he just started killing people with this whole thing, he didn't even use any guns. He just kept using this thing. I thought that was genius. Genius. I mean, mind you, like eventually Tommy figured out what he was doing, but like it was just wild. Like I really, really enjoyed that. And then mind you, and just the whole chase, the whole thing with stashing the money in the air vent and pushing it in and then getting the other room and all of that, like that whole thing was just genius. This movie was a roller coaster ride for me, because it was just unexpected. Everything about it was unexpected. The title doesn't lead to anything in this movie. And the thing about it, like, it was sad because in the beginning the guy was like, I miss the old times, and clearly the guy just like wanted to have money so he could buy a ransomware and be with his wife and be out in the middle of nowhere and just enjoy life like that. There's people that like that, people like Brock Lesnar, like they like that whole isolation life. You know what I'm saying? And then clearly you could see that's what he wanted, and he saw a ticket to do that. And he tried to run and get it, but unfortunately, sad for him, he ended up getting popped. But hey, it is what it is. But still, like, I really did enjoy this movie. I thought it was very entertaining. It was very surprising, and the thing that I liked the most is that it was very surprising. And everybody, and like you guys said before, like it was pretty much rooted in reality. Because I think this might have been located in New Mexico somewhere, or somewhere by the southern border, Texas. Where this kind in Texas, look at that. So where this kind of thing goes on, this kind of thing really does go on, and the fact that this guy just stumbled upon a couple $1 million, is amazing. I mean, truth be told, in my opinion, I wonder what would have happened if he would have never gone back.
I think that was the turning point, really.
Yeah.
Like while I guess he had a moral thing, like the guy was asked for is like, let me go back. Dude is dead by that time.
Yeah,
like,
at that point, dude is dead,
and you're dead. You were asleep, you woke up, the dude was bleeding out.
Yeah, like
he's dead.
Yep, he's gone. Like you would have been free and clear, but no. I mean, I guess that wouldn't have been good storytelling if he just would have been free and clear living in life. Yeah, you know what I mean? But still, like, that's that whole thing. Because I was just like, you dumb. Like, why are you going back?
Well, he did say, though, to his wife, I'm about to do something really stupid. So he knew what he was about to do was stupid. And life was like, yes, this was stupid.
Yep, that's right. That's right. As soon as he got to air out his tires, I was just like, well, you kind of deserve that. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I hope you live, but you kind of deserve that.
I heard a theory. I heard a theory that explains that scene, but I won't get into it yet.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Who's going next?
Chris, you want to go or you want me to go? Okay.
Here we go. You just couldn't resist, huh? I figured.
I tuned in for the humility.
Not doing it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the part you want to know. Hey, how did I feel about this movie? What's going on with this movie? Was this movie good? Did it make it sense? What was going on? Consultant. Tell us what do we got? This is what we got. I watched this movie, and I was like, normally I go watch a movie, I pour myself a nice drink, nice wines, nothing dusky, right? But this one I wanted to see because I wasn't prepared to be bored. Some people were prepared to be bored. I wasn't prepared to be bored. It wasn't my pick, but it was my man's pick. One of my oldest, bestest friends, right? So I said, I want to go ahead. I'm going to watch this movie. So I poured myself a drink and I said, you know what? I want to make sure I'm completely sober when I watch this. And thank God I was. Because I can honestly say, even sober, I still don't know what the point of this movie was. I watched this movie and I saw a dude just randomly getting arrested and randomly killing cops, and then randomly shooting people with air guns. And the guy just standing there, like the cop is just saying, step out here, doesn't give you a reason, nothing like that. Say, hey, welcome to America. So I guess that makes sense. Get shot in the head, but you ain't do anything, so that's your fault. And then I see another guy shooting buzzards or shooting whatever, and he sees somebody bleeding. He's completely not nice to him. I guess he doesn't like Hispanics. I don't know. It says, hey, I'm going to take this money. Fuck you. That's fine. Cool. All right. Fine. No problem. Takes the money. They call him the big boy, which is the guy. He goes, he talks to his little girl. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. She's not a silhouette. But he's talking to this girl and stuff like that. And then he's walking around. He's running around. The guy is just going around killing people or not killing people. He's flipping coins. I'm waiting for Batman to show up. And it's just like, wow. I don't understand the point of this movie at all. Wow. Did he just die for no reason? I was waiting for Two-Face to kill him. Two-Face didn't kill him. He just died from random people just coming around to his hotel room. I would kid you not. I had to rewind it because I didn't even know he was the one that died. I was like, damn, Thanos. It was disappointing to me. It was really disappointing to me. And then the real Two-Face talks to his wife and says, a long story. after fake Two-Face gets hit by a random car. Because that's what I realized, hey, that guy must have died because I thought the random car was Thanos. I thought Thanos was like Thanos. I'm a big DC fan, but I don't think Two-Face is any threat to you. And then some kid takes off his shirt and gives it to him, and the guy walks away in the sunlight. I'm like, okay. After I guess he let, Thanos' wife, I'm sorry, Cable's wife, stay alive. So then Two-Face talks to his wife, and spoiler alert, the movie ends. I said, did I miss something? What happened? That's how I felt. You ever had sex? Some of y'all probably haven't if you're watching this show. But if you ever had sex and then you say, I am done, and y'all didn't get y'all orgasm, that's how I felt. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, where's the nut? I did not know what was going on in this movie. How's it flagging? See, how's it flagging? I just spoiled this movie for you, see, because he didn't do her
that was YouTube.
Okay. I just spoiled this movie for you because she didn't do her homework. It was, oh my gosh, man. I didn't understand what's going on. I didn't ejaculate. Somebody didn't get pregnant. I don't know what was going on in this movie. But that being said, let's talk about the positives of this movie. Josh Brolin, Tommy Lee Jones, Thanos, not Thanos, Two-Face. These, no, not Josh Brolin. I said Josh Brolin. Whoever played Two-Face.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, him. Yeah, great acting. Great acting. From beginning to end, they nailed all of their characters, even though the dialogue was still too long. So, I'm sorry, James. I love you.
Here we go.
The dialogue may have been too long. Shout out to James. The dialogue was too long, but the content of it, the context of it was still memorable, and it still hit a point. So yes, I did not understand I didn't understand what was going on. I thought the movie was a little too convoluted for Chris. but it definitely was still entertaining to watch from beginning to end. I was enthralled. Not just because it was a mystery to me, and I'm like, wow, what's going on? Is he going to kill him? Is he not going to kill him? Why did he get hit by a car? Why is this little boy giving random strangers his shirt and nobody's calling 911, but he doesn't want to call 911? Why is this guy seriously trying to close his shop when this guy looks like a nutcase and he's over here flipping coins? Why is this woman sitting down talking to him? This woman man is not even doing anything. You should run out to the fucking house, but you ain't doing anything because there's no place to go. Why are you having a phone conversation with a man when you shouldn't have a conversation with a man, even though you already know where he's going to go? It's a whole bunch of crap going on, but I was enthralled. I was intrigued. And I got more for you in my final thoughts.
Well, that segment was short and to the point, wasn't it? Thank you for it. Before I
know what wasn't short and to the point?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. During my
Tommy Lee Jones's last lines in that movie was not short and to the point. I had to listen to him talk to his wife for 10 minutes and then see credits. That's how Twilight should have ended.
I'm just waiting to give Chris a moment to think of something else he would like to say during my time to speak.
You know that
for those
guys, right?
Say that again.
Like, because Chris said that he didn't kill the wife. She did.
He did kill the wife. He killed her. Yeah. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he definitely killed the wife.
For those who are confused,
how do you know that he killed the wife?
He checked his shoes for blood. And his moral code
he checked the shoes because he realized he stepped in shit when he walked in the house. That place was definitely dirty. No, he didn't kill the wife.
Minute number 3.
Killed the wife.
Minute number 3.
All right. Boss man's telling us we got to stop talking so he can.
No, I'm not the executive consultant. I just waited my turn. For those who are confused, Chris drinks absinthe and then watches movies and complains he can't understand it. Chris, if you don't know, suggested to watch Knives Out, a movie that was sold as a mystery and yet told us what was going on a quarter of the way into the movie and yet still gave us 3/4 of way too long. But anyway, I'm wondering if Chris watched this movie while he uploaded all those pictures to his IG, and that's why he missed so many different plot points. Perhaps that's why he doesn't know that this man's wife, Llewellyn Moss, is dead. But anyway, minute number 4. But anyway, I got to go to 30 seconds in the time that I waited for. There's so much about this movie that I like. I forget who said it. I think it was Rashad who said it, but that he goes back to give the water to the guy in the truck, right? In the cabin.
Mistake.
Huh?
Mistake.
No, big mistake, yes. But again, what I like about this movie is the same way that I said about Rogue One. It feels like you were in Vietnam or something like that. It feels like everybody has a lived-in experience in that world. In this one, all joking aside, it feels like everybody does live or come from Texas. Now, I know that Tommy Lee Jones, I think he is from either Texas or Tennessee or something like that, but they all have that Southern quality to them, right? There's so many different sayings and so many different their mannerisms and attitudes and everything like that, that again, those small nuggets that add to this larger world and make you feel like you're really in this world and these people do actually know each other to whatever varying degree, right?
Yes.
He would have gone back earlier and given him that water, but he found the money with $2 million and obviously it skipped his mind. And then in the middle of the night, like around 11 or something, he wakes up, as he says, and he's shaking his head because he knows they were running drugs. This is crazy. Anything could happen to me, but I couldn't sleep at night. That's something quintessentially that somebody from a small southern town or whatever like that, or Texas or whatever would do. This is how they think and operate. The same way when we go to the Texaco gas station and the owner is making the small talk, right? He's not thinking that this man is a hitman or whatever, and he's not even picking up until midway or 3/4 of the way during the conversation that the guy says, "Now I'm going to start asking you probing questions. How do you like that? And in fact, I might be dangerous because what if I come to your house in the back? I've noticed all these things about you." So I like seeing people realize things in real time and seeing where people come from. I like the fact in this movie that when Carson Wells, who Woody Harrelson plays, who did a phenomenal job in this movie as well, as he always does, I think, in his roles, he says to Llewellyn Moss, "I like you, right? I can even let you have some of the money, but you know you can't keep it, right? The other guy, he's a nut job, and he will kill you or he will kill your wife." He told him early, right? So I can let you have some of the money, and I don't need to kill you. I don't have that. But you're not cut out for this. I found you in 3 hours, and I'm not a hitman, as he says. I'm not a hit. He says it later. I'm not a hitman. I just get the things that are lost or whatever like that. He found where the money was. He knew where the guy Llewellyn Moss was staying and everything like that. He said, "You're just the guy who found the vehicles." And that's who Llewellyn Moss was. And as good as he was a hunter. I like that the movie established that. That's how he knows about different guns. That's how he knows about different tracking techniques and everything like that. How he knew to use the poles for the tents for different things when he's out in the wilderness. This is what he does, right? So it's believable. But he would be no match for Anton Chigurh, who is played by Javier Bardem in this movie, right? He would be so much better because that's what he does as a profession. And I like that they showed that Javier Bardem's character was so much better than him, even though through happenstance, he was able to stay a step ahead. But really, when you think about it, had he not gotten that room in the back of the motel, Anton would have killed him that night. And actually, the cartel who had the other transponder, they found him first because they were at the original hotel that he was originally at. They were tracking him and they were able to see, okay, he came to this area. He's probably coming here and he's going to come back. The other cartelists who killed him in the end of the movie when he's dead in the swimming pool because they were tracking him, and probably because we never see it, he didn't look to see if there was another transponder, which there probably was. And that was Woody Harrelson's point, that there are so many things that you don't know about this world, and I do. And I'm your safest bet to get out of that, right? I like that they had subtle beats like that. I like the fact that when Anton killed the deputy, and I'm not trying to get us flagged or anything like that, but the fact that the subtle character beat that he didn't breathe as long as the deputy couldn't breathe. And it was only till that scene was over that he breathed, and it was like he was relieved to breathe himself. It's the cinematography of this movie is phenomenal when you think about it. I like the different quotes and the different sayings that Tommy Lee Jones' character would say, especially combined with, as Aaron says, the opening of this thing where he talks about the old timers. He talks about how it was in 100 years from then, and then it bookends, the movie bookends with that as well, where he talks to his wife when he says, "I had a dream and I was riding out in the desert, and then my father came along and he rode out and he had a horn with fire. And I knew that he was riding ahead and he was making a place for me," meaning he knows his time, so-called, quote unquote, in the sun is coming to an end, right? But he still has a little bit time left on the earth. But even for him, the things he is seeing, as he says in the beginning of the movie, but the kid who says, "I know I'm going to kill again. I know I'm going to hell. You know what I mean? I'll see you in a little bit," right? He said, that doesn't make sense to me. He says that people don't believe him when he says that he didn't used to carry a gun. That seems crazy. So even in 1980, the year that this movie is supposed to take place, that seems an anathema, especially for that small town. And we see as the border wars of the cartel wars, because again, this is during that time when Reagan is pushing that war on drugs, right? That Nixon started, but we're really ramping up during the Reagan era. That you see the rise of the cartels, especially as we start establishing these banana republics with the CIA and everything like that during the late 1970s. Early 1980s in Central America, which will give rise to, as we will see if we do movies on immigration in the 90s that take place in the 90s, or even the civil wars that take place throughout Latin America in the 80s, right? Even somewhat in the late 70s. This is why that happens. And we're just seeing a taste on the American side of the border of that. Prior to that, that would have been strange. That would have been odd. Where is this coming from? I like the fact that Llewellyn's wife was not dumb. Now, people up north, quote unquote, we like to make fun of people who have a southern accent, and we think that because they speak in a slower way or they have a twang to their voice as we hear it, that they're dumb. But they're not dumb. I like the fact that she's a competent, intelligent woman. She knows her husband very well. She knows that he's doing utter BS, but she trusts him enough to know, hey, he's not going to put her in a position. And then when she says, well, why am I going there and you're going off here? That doesn't make sense. We need to do this. Notice that Llewellyn never listens to her, but she's on the ball. She psychoanalyzed Anton Chigurh the minute he stepped in there. She said, I knew you were crazy the minute I saw you. I knew that you weren't gonna let me go. I know the type of person you are. So that shows you that she's an intelligent woman. I like that. I like the subtle beat, even when he's coming back across from the Mexican border and he has to stop at the U.S. guard. And the guy they're doing it back and forth, right? And he knows that the guy just wants some respect, and he can probably tell because of his time in the services. He says that this guy was maybe a sergeant or whatever like that, and so he knows how far he can take the jokes, and then when he has to pull back. And then when he said to the guy, I served 2 tours, and he told them when and what year and everything like that, that the guy still had respect. He don't know what he's all about, but he had respect for the fact that he served his country. Subtle beats like that you don't see in all the country, in all of the US. There are only certain places that you see that even today, let alone back then. It's a changing time movie. And I like that this movie encompasses all that, and it shows that. I like the conversation between Orson Welles, not Orson, is it Orson Welles? Carson Wells, excuse me, not Orson Welles. Carson Wells and Anton Chigurh when they're in the King Hotel, and they're having the back and forth, and Carson calls him on it, and he says, you have any idea how crazy all of this sounds? And the fact, if you rewatch that scene again, when you can see that it really got to Anton, if only for a couple of seconds, and he's thinking about it, because he doesn't immediately answer the phone. He pauses, and his eyes are welling up with tears because he thought for the first moment, what if he's right and I'm psychotic and I'm not as clever as I think I am? Which leads me to believe that prior to that, he never thought about that. He always thought that he was the smartest man in the room. And here, Carson was able to, again, break him down. I like the fact that Carson was afraid of him because it established, and you see him sweating, right, profusely. Whereas always before, we saw him as a cool, operated person. Even when he's looking for the briefcase, he's not worried about it at all, okay? Even with the man that hired him. But he knows this man doesn't have any logical rules. So he would be nervous when he's around him because he doesn't know how it could go. It can go anyway by the whim of a hat or the toss of a coin. So I like certain character beats like that because it's so subtle, and I would really want to read this book to see if all of that's in there or if that's the Coen brothers adding subtle details to it to make it fuller, because again, it's not a written medium, it's a visual medium, and there's so much to digest when you're watching a visual medium. And I just enjoy this so much. I'm going to put on the screen as I close my time with my thoughts and everything like that. But this is something that was mentioned earlier when he says to his wife, I'm fixing to do something dumber than hell, but I'm going to do it anyways. I don't come back, you tell mother I love her. Now his wife goes, Llewellyn, your mother's dead. And then he pauses for a bit, and then he says, well, then I'll tell her myself. That's just a great line to me, because he's not even thinking about it. He's just like, I feel bad. I should have gave that man that water. He's dying. That's the least I could do. I took the $2 million. You know what I mean? I couldn't give him his water. And his mind is so focused on that. And she's like, you're talking crazy, honey. I don't know where you're at right now. And that's what she says to him on the phone after he gets out of the hospital. He says, I know you're hurt. I can hear it in your voice. And he smiles because that's his partner. She should know that. And she does know that. And I like, even though she doesn't get as much screen time as the other ones, I like that she knows her husband in character and they put it in the dialogue. This is what I've said about so many different movies, that they just have to have small character moments that flush it out and will give an explanation for other things that you see. If you don't do that, if the writing is poor or mediocre, right, and you're just getting to, as Vic said earlier, that punchy, run, then the character development suffers. And it would be, in my opinion, a logical critique for certain things. But again, as I said, I'm closing my time on what I thought about the movie.
Poignant as always. James, interested to hear your final thoughts along with everybody's final thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Unpopular Review. No Country for Old Men is the review, and it's the reaction. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some final thoughts. Stay with us. You're watching.
Tarantino and Rodriguez are back.
Do I frighten you? Is it my scar? It's your car.
Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof.
Might wanna buckle up, baby.
Let me give you some advice. Assume everyone will betray you, and you will never be disappointed.
I got a really good feeling about this.
I'm glad you had a good feeling about this, because I tell you, I do not. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Unpopular Review. This is No Country for Old Men. Next Tuesday is the last, thank God, last Star Wars franchise movie we are going to review before we get into the Disney Renaissance. And join us tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. as we discuss none other than Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, which is Boogie's Dusty Longshot's first host pick for Thursday. Looking forward to the reviewing that next Tuesday. Of course, like I said, Star Wars, 9:00 p.m. But here we're at, speaking of host picks, Carson's host pick, which is No Country for Old Men, which he did not get a chance to review a couple weeks ago due to time constraints. But we're here for you on a special Wednesday. We loaded it up. We brought in the next doctor just for you to talk about it. And now we're going to get into our final thoughts. And who started off first? I think it was Dusty. So you start off now. What's your final thoughts?
I think if you call me Dusty one more time, we're gonna fight. That being
said Dusty. I did not say Dusty.
You
I did not say Dusty this
you
time.
are exhibiting some, reading issues that I totally get. That you talk so fast, so your brain probably moves faster than you talk. That being said, my final thoughts on this movie: excellent. Some of the best filmmaking I've seen in quite some time.
Did you just say excellent?
I did. Is that trademarked by you or?
Not at all.
No? Oh, okay. Some of the best filming I've seen in quite some time. Excellent acting, direction, cinematography. Every single person that spent more than 10 seconds on screen delivered. This is what I look for when I look for a movie. It's not packed with action. In fact, most of the movie happens in building the tension of action that is to come. All of it doesn't come as you would imagine, but most of the film happens in building that tension. I thought that was very well done. If you can make me look forward to conversation and dialogue, then you're doing a good job. Because, yeah. That being said, I thought it was great. I really, even though I feel like everything that they started off with had payoff, every single nuance of the story building and world building in the very beginning, from the very beginning of the film to the very end, made sense in that it happens just like life. Life happens, death happens, and sometimes things happen that are fully meaningless. And there's no way to explain them away. And you just have to live with that as a human being. So I thought that was really great. I'm going to give it a thumbs up, and extra thumbs up in spirit to Tommy Lee Jones, who had like a I'm not going to say midlife crisis. I'm going to say late life crisis. And I still cared about his character, even though he was like, going through like a whole emotional breakdown or whatever with the thought of retiring. He should retire. Thumbs up. That's it.
Excellent. All right, well, I guess I'll go next. So my final thoughts on this. I also think it was an excellent movie. As I said before, the dialogue was great, and I also piggyback on what James said as far as the feel of the characters. There was one exchange when he first went to Llewellyn's was a trailer, and then he went to, I guess, the office at the beginning or the entrance of the area and tried to find him. The lady there was like, I'm not going to tell you where. I mean, she stuck to her guns, and that was, definitely seemed like something that was Texan. It was like, okay, you're just coming in here, just asking stuff. I'm not going to tell you that. You can look at me all you want, and I really dug that, and I liked the way he paused. He was like, I could just kill you right now. But then he heard someone in the bathroom. He's like, okay, and that's extra trouble. I'm not here for you. I got stuff to do. You know what? You lived. I did a coin toss in my head. You lived. All right, I'm out of here. You should thank yourself for that. I will give you a coin, but I got stuff to do. So I think that was another one of those small beats that really sold the movie. Like everything in there. I know Chris criticized it, but the kid giving the shirt off his back, it's a Southern thing to do. The man was just in an accident. Yeah. They don't know who he is. He's like, listen, can I get your shirt? Yeah. Your bone is sticking out of your arm, sir. And Chris, you said that, don't call the cop. the kid had already said the neighbor was calling the cops, and it wasn't something. I mean, they didn't really have a camera, cell phone. It wasn't something. Oh man, everybody's gawking. They went right to, okay, let me get some people some help. I don't know who these people are, but they called the cops right away. Definitely another Southern thing. So I think the theme in this movie was solid throughout. It was consistent. Love consistency, and just like Dusky said, everyone that was on screen, when they were on there, they hit the mark. This was a great movie, so definitely a thumbs up from me.
All righty. Well, I think that the theme of this movie is that life is cheap when money is involved. And why do I say that? Because it's very, very, very much a cartel movie. And mind you, if you're familiar with cartel, whether it be the Colombian cartel, the Cali cartel, the Mexican cartel, or any organized crime unit, there's no games. When money is involved, especially big money like that, everybody's life is on the line. And, this pretty much really, really depicted that. They did things in a very, very creative way. And at the end of the day, it was just a money chase, and nobody cared about anybody. And the one thing that I think expressed that the most was the scene that Rashad was just talking about, where the kid gave the shirt off of his back, right? So then the guy was like, all right, I'll give you this much money for that shirt. And then he said to the other kid, all right, I need those shoes as well, or something like that. And then the kid was just like, well, how much you going to give me for it? Pretty much just tapping into another person that's being greedy. Like, they should have called it No Country for Greedy Men. If you're gonna rename the title, you know what I'm saying? Because above all else, everybody that was greedy just fell on their sword. And and this depicted that life very, very well. So it's definitely a thumbs up. Like, it's like I would put this in the category of like a gangster movie, like a Pablo type of movie type of thing. For people that like Blow and movies like that, I would put this there.
A lot of you are saying, talking about the greed of it, and I find it interesting because, again, that perspective, because I never looked at it like that. I just looked at, he found the money, who's he going to give it to? The man underneath the tree? No, he's out of here. He's gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very curious, if you all would keep the money. I want to say that I would keep the money, but look for the transponder, because I'm sure they put it in there, or at least take a couple of those bands. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not from Texas. Okay, I'm taking a couple of those bands. All right, and
will you survive?
Leave the case. Yeah. Okay, and quickly wash it. That's all I'm saying. In the what if scenario, I've never been in that situation. All right. While I talk about it, I'm going to put up some of the quotes that I couldn't get to.
I'm doing it now. What do you
out
want?
of there? This is something that when Llewellyn calls Carson at the hotel, Anton picks up and he goes, "Is Carson Wells there?" And he goes, this is after he's been shot. He says, "Not in the sense that you mean." It's just dialogue like that. It's so cold, but to the point, but it's hilarious to me. You can't talk to him. You know what I mean? He's out of here, And then this is another cryptic line that Anton says to Carson. He goes, "If the rule you follow brought you to this, of what use was the rule?" Right? And these are the riddles. And he asks that to Carson, and Carson says, "Do you have any idea how insane this is?" And it makes him think for the first time, really, at least that we see on screen. I'm going to close doing passage. I haven't done these passage text quotes in a long time. This I'm going to recite what Rashad mentioned earlier. That's one of my favorite scenes because I love the expression of the woman in the office in the trailer park because she's like bucking him, and then she realized, what, this dude is a bit off. And I love how Javier plays the Anton because his eyes only get slightly wider and he pauses more before he asks the same question, which is a telltale sign I'm not all here. But it's hilarious to me because I'm watching it in a movie and not in real life where somebody's at risk. And again, you see all the calculations going on. I love when you could see a character think on screen. It's a beautiful acting, beautifully done. Okay. Well, I'd say he's at work. Do you want to leave a message? Where does he work? I can't say. Where does he work? Sir, I ain't at liberty to give out no information about our residents. Where does he work? Did you not hear me? We can't give out no information. And then he stands up like he goes over a little bit and he hears the toilet flush. And then he backs up. He looks at her and then moves towards the door and then turns back again. Like, I should choke you one last time before you see the crazy, like, just calculating his head. And then this is the sheriff and and his deputy, right? And the sheriff goes to the deputy, who the deputy is almost like comic relief. Okay. Tommy Lee Jones deputy. He goes, sounds like Tommy Lee Jones goes, sounds like these boys died of natural causes. They've been all shot up. Okay. In the desert. And the deputy goes, how's that, sheriff? And he goes, natural to the line of work they were in. Now, when you think about it, that makes absolute sense. It's so Southern and I guess Texan the way he said it. He says, well, they died of natural causes because they were drug runners. That's what happens in that line of work, Like if somebody drowned and they work on a boat, well, it makes sense. And it's not out of, if they fell from a plane, that's weird because you're on a boat. What are you doing? But so it's just funny dialogue like that. That's so good to me, and I love dialogue. That's why I'm looking forward to this Tarantino, because this is the only one that I haven't seen that Tarantino directed. I haven't seen True Romance, which he wrote, obviously, if you know Tarantino films, and I'm a big fan of his work in dialogue, and I love it because the anticipation for the action always builds and crescendos along with the dialogue, and it's such great character development, and that's what this movie is. That's what I've talked about since day one of whatever episode I was on. Last year some point, so it's a thumbs up for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the hater.
Entrance music.
So we have 4 thumbs up. What is the executive consultant going to give this movie? Let's start talking about it. 8.1. 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb.com. This movie cost $25 million to make. I know what you're saying. Where? Well, they got some actors that needed to get paid. $75 million is how much this movie made. $75 million in the United States of America. Worldwide, it made 171. This movie ended abruptly. This movie made me feel like I didn't get what I needed. This movie had me thinking I was going to see this and I was going to see that. I didn't see this or that. Yeah, keep doing that.
Yeah.
This movie had me argue with people that I care about over somebody dying, if they died or not. This movie hurts my feelings. I don't know, because this movie was great with acting. You had the great acting of Tommy Lee Jones, who played Two-Face. You had the great acting of Javier Bardem, or however you pronounce it, who played Two-Face. You had the great acting of Josh Brolin, who played Thanos and Cable, which is Two-Face. I'm tough. It's a tough one for me. Then I remembered that somebody gave a random stranger a shirt who was bleeding and just walked into the sun, right? And then I remember that Tommy Lee Jones sat there and talked to his wife for 10 minutes, and I had to sit there and listen to him talk to his wife for 10 freaking minutes, and then I got to see credits. And then I remember all these people being stupid and getting killed. Yeah, it did. I didn't even see Sopranos. But the acting was great. I was enthralled throughout the entire movie. Yes, I was disappointed by the ending. Yes, I didn't feel like that woman was pregnant. But at the same time, I enjoyed the film. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, all I need out of the movie. This movie gets a thumbs up from me.
Now, Chris, I will warn you, if you're confused about movies, wait till you see my birthday week picks, because I've picked one where you got to read the subtitles all throughout, and one where they speak in Old English. So,
I haven't got confused about movies until I saw Death Proof. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us here at Unpopular Reviews. I am the exec consultant. Over there is the next doctor. Up there is Dusky, because you can't hear my K. Dusky, long shot. And over there is Redneck Cartel, which I just paid attention to his name, and I feel like I'm back home here in Florida. And then up there is Carson. Thank you so much for watching us. Please join us tomorrow where we review Dusky, long shots episode of Death Proof.
We're gonna work on your reading.
My bad. I mistook it for a movie I actually wanted to see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us. We will see you next time here at Unpopular Review. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.